Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Building Your Business right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy. My guest today is Emily Rose. What are you putting online for your business? She likes to help people understand how to show up online safely without being scammed or inviting kind of the scammers to come in and target you. But it's also understanding what you're putting up there in your business. You've got to make sure it's not replacing the old-fashioned flash things that we used to have on our sites, that it is something invitational and something that is connective, which is really, really important. She says that with the world going more and more online, you don't want to be left behind, but it's also easy to be scammed and tricked into spending too much money and not getting results for or ownership, creating digital marketing strategies to suit your needs. We're going to be talking about the importance of digital marketing and safety when setting up. There are many common mistakes, she says, when it comes to digital marketing, from overpaying for product or websites before you have proof of concept for your brand, to making every password the same, getting hacked on social or on your email, from strategy to logistic elements in the digital world. It's complicated, and finding the right reliable team, it can be super painful. I know, I've been there, I've been a victim of that, and super expensive. Yeah, a lot of money down the drain. So we're going into marketing because she cares, and she's passionate for the design and help people find their unique selling point and helping them target their market. She's been around the world, from Australia, Denmark. She's traveled to 25 countries, and she's found marketing kind of, fell into it, or was she guided into it? Was it her pivot to get into there? And now it's become very much her passion. So let's go and learn some tips about it, because believe me, folks, I've been down that. I have hired at least 4 people in my time, paid the money for my site and had my site hijacked, or that they have done something radically different that I can't do myself, where they were meant to design a site that I could maintain, or they have, you've paid out money for advertising and it's got absolutely nowhere. And we just really are very, very confused. Do we promote our business? How do we draw people in? How do we represent ourselves? Help! I can hear a lot of people saying it behind me. Welcome to the show, Emily.
Thank you. Thank you for such a great introduction.
So it is a tricky thing being online, isn't it? Because there are some do's and don'ts, um,
Wow.
but there's also some steps in how you represent yourself, and really kind of, as I said before, it's an algorithm. So what you put out there is what's going to get picked up and is what's going to come flooding back to you. So make sure be careful what you follow, what you post, because you just don't know where it's going, and you want the intent to hit the right algorithm.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that, a few years ago, everything just started showing up online. So people tried to just jump on the wagon
Mhm.
without ever having experience in that before.
Yeah.
Like there's some very successful business owners that have not the first thing in mind on where to go
Yes.
digitally, but they know they have to be there. So we find there's a lot where people will rush in online, and it will do more harm than good, because like you
Yes.
said, like maybe it's actually showing up to the wrong things, or
Yes.
maybe your competitors are using your brand to leverage them.
Mm.
So little things like that are definitely painful. And then the other thing is, I find with online businesses, people can see it as like a get rich quick sort of idea. Just start an online
Nobody
business.
gets rich quick, honey. Nobody.
Yeah, so we can see people really diving in and saying, I'm just going to pay however thousands and my site's just going to sell. And then next thing you know, you're actually have lost a lot more money and you don't have a site that's just selling. So
Yeah.
there's certainly a world to navigate there on both sides for like existing business owners and those looking for it. So yeah.
I think one of the big problems is that we've got unpersonal. Everything is in chat rooms, everything is so digital and far removed, and you can't have a conversation with anyone. And if you're not having that conversation, you're not listening to the needs of that person, who that person is. If you're going to build a site for them, or if you're going to help them with their social media, you need to know who they are and what it is they are trying to market. And if you haven't got that connection and you haven't built that relationship, how can you truly represent them?
Absolutely. And I think it goes both ways in the sense that sometimes there's people that will just say, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I need
Mm.
someone to build my site and build my social. Just go with it, and we'll get like no information. And then be trying to, see into right into the insides of you, right? Why did you start that? Where's your passion? What solution are you actually solving? And all we've got is a logo and a brand kit.
And where does
Versus
that get you?
no,
Amongst
exactly.
the trillions of them out
Yeah.
there,
And like, yeah, I can go into the like psychology of color and try to figure out like why you picked them, but you may also might have just picked them because you were drawn to them. So
Right.
it definitely goes both ways, but the same way, we say that one of our unique selling points for our business is we care
Yeah.
because like, if you have a big release, we're just as stressed as you are sitting on the other side. And I think that's what drew me to it is now I don't work for one company, I work for a bunch.
Yes.
Um,
Yes. And yet, this is the thing is, I find because I wear all the hats, and then if something goes wrong,
yeah.
and it's very often because I do wear all the hats. There's a lot of technical stuff that's above my head, and it's like really hard for me to navigate. And so I'm trying to be on the other side. You can't get a voice. You're on a chat. How do I do this? And they're talking their dialogue at you. They're not adjusting their dialogue for you to understand. And it can be
100%.
so frustrating because everything has got so detached, as I said, and not connective. And they really don't care because they have millions anyway. And when you're in the chat room with them, they're busy chatting to someone else at the same time. So you've
Hmm.
got 10, 15 minutes in between each response, right? Which can
Yeah,
be infuriating. So this is why we go and hire other people to help us through that so that we don't go grayer. Yes, there are quite a number of gray hairs through all that frustration. Um, because they do know how to navigate through that. And it's like, I think when in all business shows, people look at what your strengths are, what your strengths aren't, hire someone you can trust that can allow you to be your strength because their strength is setting that platform for you.
absolutely. Yeah, I think that's something that comes up a lot is, of course, it's the least expensive to do it all
Mm,
yourself, but are you no longer able to coach
yeah.
or do interviews or do this because you've just spent the last 10 hours doing your own whatever. So marketing is
Or 10 hours waiting to connect with somebody only to get
oh yeah.
disconnected in the ninth
Oh
point.
yeah. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely super tedious. And
Yes.
exactly like there's so many ways to just not know what to do. Like if, I don't know if you have like a CRM system and stuff, but if I'm like, okay, where's your CRM system? Let's start doing some email marketing.
Yeah.
That could mean nothing to you.
Yes.
And
Yes, I did a show
also,
on that last week and how
oh,
important it is.
perfect. There
So
you
yes.
go. But and then if you talk to the wrong person or not the wrong person, but if you talk to some people, they'll say, "Oh, you need a $600 a month CRM system,"
Yeah,
and
exactly.
and now you're just in a hole. And yeah, so it's definitely hard to navigate. And then to your point of the not reaching people, that is so frustrating.
Mm.
You don't even reach a chat person half the
Mm.
time. Usually, you're just
Getting
stuck
an
with
AI.
bot. Exactly. But you're I mean, I find my AI radars pretty good these days, but you don't always know if it's a person or not until you start getting repetitive answers. You're like, okay, no,
Or you
this
put
isn't.
something in that isn't, robotic, that actually is kind of more personal, something else. And there's, I'm sorry, I don't understand. And now a robot.
Exactly. But yeah, and then you get put into yeah, these chat bots, and I find it, you don't know what to ask for. You're just
That
like,
is
well, it's not
huge
working.
point. Yeah, no, that
Yeah.
is a huge point because again, when a lot of solopreneurs, and I'm sure you work with a lot of solopreneurs or people that so many people have interviewed have left corporate and gone out on their own. But when they were
Hmm.
in corporate, they had this department, that department, that department. And now suddenly they are all the departments and they're
I
realizing
know.
what they need. And it's like, oh my God, I don't know how to do this. And I don't know
Yeah.
who to hire, because the
No.
corporate did it. And this is the importance of actually knowing when you're beginning to set up a business, isn't it? What are you going to need? Whom are you going to need? And at what stage? And be prepared before you need it.
Yes, 100%. And that's the hard part about finding a team, because you might think, okay, I need Google ads. I really want to show up on Google. So then you go to someone who just does Google ads, and then they will just keep upselling you and upselling you on your
Hmm.
Google ads, even if Google ads are not working for you,
Right, exactly. I
Versus,
paid all that money. Nothing ever happened.
no, but it's because you had to know that you were ready for Google Ads, and you didn't necessarily know that. You just thought, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like that's
yeah,
not your expertise. So you're like, well, I think I need ads. I saw a YouTube video or something.
yeah.
And then it's quite interesting, because if you're a B2B versus B2C, it's very different, right? Like, not to get too into that, but if you're something where someone is searching for your solution, that's something where you'd want like a Google ad. If
Mm.
someone's searching and I want to be the first thing that pops up, great, that's Google. If it's something like shoes, I'm not searching for I need new shoes,
Right.
but if you stick some pretty little shoes on my Facebook page,
Mhm.
while I'm scrolling, suddenly now maybe I've created that feeling like I need
I
some
need
shoes.
that shoe.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
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 you're
if
talking
you're,
about content.
yeah, and but also placement, right?
Right.
Because hiring a social ads team can sometimes be different than a Google Ads team. So
Mm.
you're like, this is what I want, but I've gone to the wrong team, and that team's not going to tell you unless they offer social ads too,
Mm.
like, so the team you hired, you won't know they're wrong for months.
Right. And
So
money's
that's
just
where,
going out and you
oh
don't
yeah.
know why nothing's coming in. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like yeah, we start with like strategy sessions, because I'm like,
Mm.
how can I even take like a real, I can't tell you what services you need unless I've really looked into
Yes.
your company.
Well,
So
that's the point, though, isn't it? It's that, this is what I've said. I've had long conversations with people that have done my sites and things. So yes, I get it. No, I know what you need, Sarah. And then when it actually come to them doing it, and you're trying to say, go, no, no, I don't like that, or I can't use this. Suddenly they're not there. Right.
yeah,
And
yeah,
that's, when you're having a relationship with we've got to realize if with people going online with their business today, this is their livelihood. This is a
yes,
representation of who they are. This is
yeah,
their passion and conviction. And if you don't get it and you're not supportive of it, you could be detrimental to it. So
yes,
this is why choosing the right person to help you set things up is really important.
yeah. Oh yeah. And even on that, like, no, I mean, just on the people for social media, it's just a poor nightmare. There's such an unfortunate world where you cannot reach a person, period.
Hmm.
It's like, some people just sell through like Instagram or Facebook or other
I
social
know,
platforms.
it's just so
It's,
annoying. It used to be
yeah.
social, not shopping. Yeah.
Yes, but that's their whole livelihood. So if their account gets hacked, that's their whole business down, and you
Yes.
cannot reach a person. And that's sort of where we've helped a lot. The last 2 weeks there was just a big hack, and I found like every other person that was emailing me had gotten their Instagram or their Facebook hacked. So that was really big, and they're
And you
just
can
saying,
actually help them because I thought once you've been hacked, that's it.
no, so
Start again because there
yeah.
is no one to talk to.
No, no, we literally saved a guy last week.
Wow, it's good to
So
know.
yeah, yeah, definitely hit me up if you've gotten. Some of them take a while though.
Yeah.
So we did have a Facebook hack that took 3 months to get back. So that
Wow.
is Our biggest thing though is, well, not biggest, our biggest thing is getting it back for you, but the short term is shutting it down so it doesn't continue to spread fire, right?
Mm,
Because if you've allowed it to get hacked and you've kind of just backed off and said, oh, well, it didn't matter, especially if it's a personal page or something you don't pay
right.
attention to, suddenly you, not intentionally, of course, but you're now making all your friends subject to being hacked by this guy too,
Yes,
and then
exactly.
their friend, and it only takes one to be 1,000.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you
so
get
that
friends that saying, "Have you been hacked? This picture's gone up, or that's gone up, or
yeah,
this
yeah.
person's trying to friend me." And I think that's something that we really have to do. If somebody you don't recognize is trying to friend you, I'm a person that will go into, their Facebook. It's Facebook mostly, going into Facebook, and I go to the about. And if I
Hmm.
see nothing in about, then there's nothing about you. Forget
Yeah,
it. If I see in the description just more and more pictures of them or pictures of kittens or something like that, then I know they're not a real person. And then I
yeah,
won't accept them. Or if they've managed to get in, I delete them. And it
yeah.
takes time, but you have to do it because otherwise, you don't know what they're going to do there.
No, absolutely. And they've gotten so good. Like I cannot tell you how they do
Mm,
it. I don't wish to know, I would
yeah.
never do that to anyone, but it's sort of like sometimes they'll just say, "Can you just copy and paste this?" Like there's such
Uh-huh.
crazy ways that you think there's no way. I'm not giving them my password and my mother's
Right.
maiden name and my SIM
Yes.
card.
If they
Um,
ask you for that, please, red flags, big red
Yes,
flags.
exactly. But it's something as simple as, oh, hey, I just got a new account and I'm having an issue. Can you just send me this link? Something that seems so harmless.
Uh-huh.
But every time if you get a weird thing, just message a friend from another forum. So like
Right.
we've even had a horror story where someone was shadowing their email,
Oh,
and they
yeah.
it was like a boss and his employee, and they wire transferred on the normal, like it was a very normal thing, and he wrote an email out to the person and said, hey, can you wire like $30,000 to this guy, and it was from the boss's email, it would and everything, and then he was like, so like last minute he just was like, I should call him like
Yes.
because this has like but like that was a normal
Mm,
part of their job, but he hadn't heard about this
yeah.
particular wire, so it seemed like a lot of money to just be
Yeah.
emailing about,
Right.
right? But we rely on email so much and
Yes.
social so much that if my staff messaged me and said like, oh hey, my last payment didn't go through, can you check on it, like suddenly you kind of just spurk into action, so you do have to be so on guard. And it was like this guy was just shadowing the email, and he was even logged into his email on the other side while that guy was sort of hacking in.
Yeah,
So
that
it's,
happened to me actually while I was in my bank account. Something came up and said, "Will you fill out this questionnaire for us from the bank account?" And I did, and it wanted my bank number and all of that. And the next thing you know, my bank account is empty.
oh,
Now they did honor it because
yeah,
it happened to a few people, and they said, "But no, we wouldn't do that." And I said, "But I was in my account when this window
yeah,
popped up."
yeah,
But I'm in your account, so I thought it was you, you know?
yeah.
And it's the
And
same with PayPal. They just change a little thing, your PayPal this or this or that. I don't know how many emails every day I report as phishing.
I know, I know. And it's so sad because you think like if someone had broke into your bank and stole all the money,
Hmm.
like it would come up on the news, and
Yes.
it would be this big thing and everyone would talk about it. But because it's digital, it will be like an email. Hey, by the way,
Yeah.
1.3 million of our accounts got hacked last night. Hopefully it doesn't mean anything. Boop,
Yeah.
and it's just so sad that like one of the big ones was like a big social hack, and we had tons of clients affected, and thankfully they were connected with a team like us that could like
Yes.
save them, but all I could think of was all the people that weren't, and
Yeah.
just would be like, where do we even start? So we try to like put out blogs and stuff ourselves to be like, if this happened to you, try these
Yes.
things,
And that's important because, that's the word kind of people looking at, social media and scam and people don't always put it together. But, the one I get a great deal, probably 4 or 5 a week. Somebody tags onto a link. I've seen
Yes.
your picture. Yeah, I like your smile or I like your post. I'd like to get to know you. Will you friend me? right? And it's
Mm,
the same script every time. So
yes.
again, I go in and look at them, right?
Yeah.
And most of the times it's pictures of all of them,
Yeah.
right? Different, so they've obviously gone into someone's account, taken all the pictures and put it up there. And no, I'm not going to friend you. Uh,
No. Yeah.
and they're God, if I always say employer hacker because they know all the ins and outs,
Oh
right?
yeah. Oh
And it's
yeah.
like, come on, folks, we're meant to take pride in what we do in life, what we represent. Do you
Oh
really
yeah.
take pride in hacking people and destroying their lives or emptying their bank accounts, which we see so much, and we've had a huge thing of here of people getting emails, older people, your grandson's been arrested, he needs this money. And one person lost his entire savings and he was something like 80 something. And he's never going to get that back. That's it. And it's just like,
No.
shame on you hackers. Shame
Yeah.
on you.
Well, yeah, 100%. And I mean, that's the interesting world of like digital, but even with digital marketing, I look at it like, am I supporting businesses that are spamming people and
Yeah.
scamming? Like
Hmm.
I would never,
Yeah.
whereas I see it as, I'm helping people reach their target audience with
Yes.
their solution. Like if
Yes.
you don't have a
Safely.
solution,
So yes.
safely,
Yeah.
yeah, if you don't have a solution,
Then what
what
are you
is,
marketing?
no, I have
Yeah,
no business to talk
yeah,
about.
exactly. Uh, you see, yeah, I've said we've become very much of a what I call a headline world. The headliners, and we don't look at content. We don't look at the context of the content. We don't read
Oh
any
yeah.
further than the headline, and then we wonder why we're kind of flapping in the wind. And we haven't got any answers. Well, because one of the things that social media has done is made everybody instant and nobody is paying attention. And what we're doing all the time is stop, take a deep breath, be
Mhm.
present, look at it
Oh
more
yeah.
deeply, more thoroughly,
Yeah.
right? Before
Oh
you
yeah.
go and react to it, because the headline wants you to react. And
Exactly.
a lot of people are marketing that way, and I think it's empty marketing because not you're not doing is offering any content or substance. It's
Yeah.
just a hook.
Oh, yeah. I think it's so easy to completely forget strategy in today's
Yeah.
and your goals and your values,
Yes.
as people, as a company, it's so like such a common one is, things like new platforms popping up. So
Yeah.
TikTok, for example, is very
Yes.
young. Everyone's like, I need to be on TikTok.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, let's wait a minute. Are you targeting to young
Yeah.
people? Is that even your
Is
target
that your
audience?
market? Yeah.
Yeah, do you have the capacity to be creating videos often?
Yeah.
Is that even part of your branding? Do you have this like fun, bouncy element? Obviously there's different algorithms and different things to
Mm.
do in TikTok, but don't just go on TikTok to go on TikTok,
Yeah.
and more often than not, I find when I talk to businesses, they'll have the account and
Yeah.
they'll say, I want to start doing stuff. And I'm like, well, based on the content that you've provided and the content we've created, this isn't going to perform. So
Yeah.
why should we waste our effort and put that out? And that's a big one, right? If you're just
Yes.
hiring like just a social media team that's not thinking about your strategy, very quickly they're now charging you for the extra platforms because they're also doing TikTok and
Hmm.
they're also doing Twitter and they're also doing this and not realizing maybe that's not where I should be. Maybe I should just funnel and focus on building a strong presence on the platforms that my target audience are on.
Yeah. I have
Um,
the two platforms that I call I'm interactive with will be LinkedIn and Facebook. And I spend
mhm.
time in responding to what people are saying, developing relationships. What my postings invite other people to have a conversation. And it's, what you got to understand, that's networking. That's
Yeah.
networking,
Oh
right?
yeah.
That interaction, participation, not just posting, but networking
Mhm.
is a way of you reaching a new clientele or people that are intrigued with what you're doing, or just intrigued of who you are. And
Yeah.
then,
Oh
maybe
yeah.
they don't need your services, but they like you and they'll refer you, right? They'll
Yeah.
support you, which we
Oh,
get
for
a
sure.
great deal on social media with the right people. So I
Mhm.
use Twitter and Instagram, Tumblr, and Pinterest more as posting of my shows This
Hmm.
is where you can find them. I
Yep.
do have a TikTok, but I don't use it really. Like you
Yeah.
said, it's just not my thing. But LinkedIn and Facebook is where I have found the greatest audience and the greatest support. And I think is honing. There was somebody that told me something that really stood with me. Um, she had been having a dialogue with somebody online under a certain name, and they'd really got on very, very well. And she was so looking forward to meeting them. And then she went to this event and went up to them and la da da, I was so good to finally meet you in person. And the person looks around and goes, "Who are you?"
Oh.
It was the assistant, whoever they employed to
Uh,
communicate, and she felt like I've been betrayed. I've
yeah.
been betrayed. Somebody else has used your presence. You've hired them to do that. But instead of them moaning up, I'm the assistant, I'm glad you enjoy that. They've
Yeah.
talked like you. And when I meet you, everything that I thought you were is now being shattered. And that's
I
a really
know.
big one, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's quite interesting actually because there's this debate between should you use your personal like face as your sort of business,
Mhm.
like you're almost like you're the representative for your business, or should you have a business page? So on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, you have limitations if you're a business. So
Mhm.
people will very quickly be like, okay, well then I'm just going to stay personal. But I like personally just think no, like do the work to have it as a business page. Of course you can have your personal
Yeah.
page that you engage in, but that should be you, or like you, and maybe if you're doing an event and you have to spread the word a
Mhm.
little extra, okay, maybe that's where you get some help. But I think it's unfortunate when it does turn into an assistant
Mhm.
using the like founder as an influencer. I think it's so much nicer when you have a business page and that business page is of course run by people.
Yeah.
That's to be expected.
Yes.
At least when you scale. And then and you just put the work in. You find the algorithm for the business
Mhm.
pages. You find the best practices for the business pages. On top of it, like as a company, we really focus on data-driven decisions. So,
Mhm.
like number one is this aligning with what you intended the
Mhm.
company to be and you and yourself? And number two is it resonating with the people we're sending it to? Because you can think that your audience is single moms all
Right.
day. If no single moms are buying this product, like we need to switch it up. So if you're not putting the work in to find that data, which comes with business
Mhm.
pages, um, then you're kind of back to this just like guessing game, or it's just like I find it's not something that you can look over time. So I can see, ooh, this reel did really well. I'm going to make five more like it. But
Mhm.
I don't know that as a trend, actually my reels of January were way better. Now I'm stuck on my March reels and I'm
Yeah.
recreating that one. And it's actually nowhere close to where I was.
Yeah.
So I find you end up really narrow-minded if you're not looking at the bigger picture. And I mean, it comes back again, like if you're not going back to that strategy and those
Yes.
values and all
Mhm.
that,
But
at
also
least,
don't assume, right? You're okay, if you're selling baby products to mothers or maternity people, then yes, you know what your market is. But your
yeah,
market also is the grandparents that will
yeah,
buy for you. And it's like,
totally.
a lot of people, especially coaches and things like this, they may have a certain target market people that they deal with, but then other people may be inspired by what they're doing and want to be a part of it. So it's
Hmm.
it's a question of being targeting a niche, but at the same time being invitational for other people to be
Yeah.
interested in it, right? So we've got to be
Yeah.
careful not just go one lane, but fan out.
Absolutely. And yeah, I think it's really cool. It's fun to test new markets,
Yes,
right? Even like we've had times where we've been targeting students for like an app, but it's actually been the teachers that have
yes,
been the ones that bring the students in. And if it's more of an educational piece, we find parents are pretty big at bringing a student in. Whereas if it's something very fun, you can oftentimes get to a younger generation and it works great. They just pick it up because it's got that like very fun, approachable um element to it. So it's very interesting. I think proper target audience analysis is really good, and trying to really think about not just what they're doing, but where are they?
Yeah.
What are their pain points? We actually say to make an empathy map. And that's
Mm,
literally like, what are they looking at? How are they feeling? What are their stressors? What are they seeing? And then where are they?
right.
Are they even online?
Mm,
Because maybe your digital strategy is not as big as you think. Like, yes, it might be cheaper to run a Google ad for 3 months than throwing it into the local newspaper, but is it cheaper if it brought in 5 people versus
yeah,
the newspaper just brought in 100, right?
exactly. Yeah, and this is, where this is the thing. A lot of people, again, they've come from a structured area and they've gone out on their own, and then, they realize, oh my God, there's so many more bricks in this building than I thought, right?
Mhm.
And um,
Mhm.
and it's make sure that you do get the advice, but it's always remember pivot, pivot, pivot.
Yep.
You've got to twist and shout. You've got to do the tango. Do not think I'm just going to walk this one straight line and I don't want to know about anything else, because you're going to fall off the end of the world.
Oh yeah.
We need people that can twist and shout and tango along the way, because so many times you're going to have to pivot in your business in order to survive or supply.
Yeah.
This customer, gosh, I wasn't targeting that customer, but this
Mhm.
customer's really interested. How can
Yeah.
I adjust
Yeah.
to serve that customer?
Absolutely. And 100%, we say if you find something that's really working,
Mhm.
hammer it home because it's
Yes.
not going to work for very long in the grand scheme of things. A few months, it could really work. The interesting thing that you kind of mentioned at the beginning was like the algorithms, right?
Hmm.
Like they are constantly changing.
Yeah.
So you have to, what you're doing today might completely stop working tomorrow. And you're like, well, it really worked though. I think I just need to, persist and do it and it'll come back. But no, if the algorithm changed it and now, like one of the big changes of Instagram was photo to video. If you don't jump on the video train, you're just your whole strategy of Instagram is gone. And maybe before having a photo was fine, but it's not anymore. So it's like there's so much to follow along with. And then the other thing that we really find is hard to navigate is don't think that what you're seeing online is what
Hmm.
everyone's seeing
Right.
online.
Yeah.
So really what you're saying with the algorithms, like you teach the algorithm what you like to see.
Yes.
So a super common thing that I've spoke about before is that you can actually like other people doing the exact same thing as you and then teach the algorithm that you as a coach, all you want to see is other coaches,
Right. Yes.
and suddenly you're like, everybody's a coach. Like
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
not everybody is a coach.
Yeah.
And so you've just liked all other coaches stuff and you've been inspired by all their work and now you've completely taught the algorithm that that's who you want. So you're not seeing anybody that actually needs your coaching. You're
Right.
only seeing your competitors.
That's a good point. Right. And I think this is where, going back to being interactive,
Mhm.
is, yes, you can like and it's registered by their thing, but then when you kind of get proactive where you comment and you follow people, then it's being that invitation again, right? It's personalizing it.
Yeah.
Um, and I think is that something when you're talking about Instagram, I'm not a big fan of Instagram. I post up some videos, and I
Yeah.
every week do a 2 or 3 minute video and I put it up there. If I have an
Yeah.
announcement, I put it up there. I
Yeah.
don't post my shows up there per se. I post up the banner that has everybody's face on there with the link to go to those shows, because
Yeah.
my banners are long and there's a thing is square and it
Yeah.
doesn't always fit. So
Yeah.
um and they don't really have a link thing, so people would have
No.
to copy and paste. So I don't,
Exactly.
you know,
For
the,
you, it just doesn't
it's
make sense.
for me, it's like I go on Instagram and I look at the pictures and I comment and this and that, but I very rarely ever get a message from it.
Mhm.
Again, it's where what is working for you and what's going to be working for you is where you are the most proactive. But I think
Mhm.
let's also look at numbers. Oh, I've got 10,000 followers on Instagram. How many people are proactive with you? How many people have you had business from?
Yeah.
Yes, we would like to have those numbers, but we want, and I'm a gamer person. I don't buy people. Like
Mhm.
LinkedIn likes to sell all these people, etc. No, I go in. Do I feel that there's a synergy?
Yeah.
from what I'm seeing, then I will accept your request or request. But I
Hmm.
don't, I want people that are in the same vibe tribe as me, right? The same frequency and not people that aren't. It doesn't always work because sometimes you get those people that piggyback, right? But
Yeah.
it's not about the thousands of likes. It's about the proactive likes, the
Oh
people that
yeah.
you've got there. And don't get caught up with the, 1 million likes.
I know. Oh yeah. And the lower the follower count, oftentimes it's higher the engagement.
Hmm.
So I find it's such a vanity metric,
I know.
it's just like, if I'm, yeah, I find it's the same. So Facebook, funny enough, it has like for us, it has our lowest follower count. But if I sign into my Facebook right now, I'll find 6 to 10 people that are looking for my services. Will
Mhm.
I be able to close? Unknown. Like but
Yeah.
I'm so like connected into like people looking for marketing solutions that I
Yes.
know I've hit my target audience because I don't often, maybe never see other marketing agencies.
Hmm.
And it's hard because of course you want to check out what other people are
Yes.
doing. You want to
Yeah.
click on it, but you really have to teach the algorithm, nope, that's not what I want to see, you know? Or if you are doing it's a dedicated, 2 hours, you're going to do some competitor research, and then that's going to be that, and you're
Hmm.
not going to hover over them every single, because even the hover teaches the algorithm. Like, it's not
Mm.
hard. It's your
Yeah.
human behavior. It's not
I
just
have noticed that
the
if I've looked at something,
intentional.
go, oh, that looks cute. Look at that. And the next thing I know, I've got it every time. Yeah, I
I
know. It's
know.
like, I just hovered over that. What are you doing?
I know. I know. It's pretty crazy, the levels. But that's why, I know there's so many people that are don't think in that like data driven mindset. They're like, I'm sort of following what you believe. And I think it does have to have a little bit of both,
Yes.
because as much as I think like your intuition can tell you a lot and making like big decisions from your gut and stuff, like there's a lot of really good stuff that comes from that. There's like when it comes to strategy, you don't want to exhaust a strategy that's not working, and
Hmm.
you don't want to just keep doing the same
Same old
thing
thing and expecting the
that's
different results, right? Yeah.
exactly the whole Einstein's
Yeah.
quote. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So there's a lot to be said there that I just think, looking at data does play a game in there. And if you or anyone listening has a website, doesn't have things like Google Analytics connected, like it's free, you should connect it because that shows all your traffic, shows your demographic, who's actually
Yeah.
coming to your site,
Which
and
part of the world? Yeah.
yeah, and
Yes.
it's unfortunate that there's probably half the people that come in as clients, and they'll be like, "Oh, can you send access to your Google Analytics?" And they're like, "Oh, we haven't set that up." And I'm like, "Oh, you've been in business for like 2, 3 years, and we can't use any of that data.
Right.
We can't look back at all at what's worked or not." And they're like, "Well, you know."
Yeah.
So it's a bit unfortunate. I think there is a lot that can be done with data, as well as making sure that you are strategizing. And at the end of the day, of course, it all needs to connect back with the original why of
Yes,
why
exactly.
you're doing this. and
Exactly.
yeah,
If you get so caught up in the running of your business, um, you've lost the passion for why you're doing the business, right? So,
yes,
this is why kind of laying the foundation, making sure it's strong before you put the walls up, and then with
yes,
each wall, can it take another floor?
yeah,
You don't keep putting the roof on because you may go up a few stories, So
yeah,
it's be prepared for growth, and the only way you're going to be prepared for growth is making sure that the strategy is there and that
yeah,
when suddenly growth comes along, like how it happens is that you don't have a client for a while, and all of a sudden there's 6 clients that all want you.
yes.
Now what you do, juggle, 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 and it's like, well, what have you put in place to prepare for that so you don't let them down? So prepare for success just as much as struggle, right? So it's really important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, I'm in complete agreement. I think that like I have lots of people say, I can find the silver lining in everything
Yes.
and I can be this really, really positive person, which I love. And it's definitely like like it's who I am. But I've had to learn, you do have to have a bit of a safety blanket here and then because unexpected things will 100% happen. Like
Exactly.
100%, they will
Yes.
happen.
Yes, but it's
And
also,
that's
it can also, be all right, yes, but at the same time exciting.
a hundred
So,
percent.
again, what
Yeah.
is your mindset going into this? If the preparation has been done, the intimidation is not
Yeah.
ruling it. It becomes
Mhm.
the excitement of how
Yeah.
you're going to do with it rather than the fear.
Yeah. And it's the same thing the other way, right? Like the growth can very quickly be replaced by fear because
Yes,
it's, ooh, how am I going to balance this?
right.
And then that's when we see like self-sabotage and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Oh, like websites specifically, you were saying you've had a few. Like we've just had people that are so afraid to launch, just
Hmm.
they cannot go live, that it'll be, we're ready. And then it's, oh, you know what? Actually, I don't like my picture of me on page 7. So
Right.
can we just like change that one more time? No, I still
Yeah.
actually, maybe I want this to, and you're just
I
like,
need it to be perfect. No, just
yeah.
do it.
Oh, I'm like, just go live, send it to a few of your friends. Like you can keep it small. We don't have to
Yes,
broadcast it to the whole world tomorrow. And trust me, as soon as we click publish, no one will be looking at it and it's
right.
not ranking. People imagine this whole like, and then everybody saw
Yes.
it. You can have your
Yeah, no,
site
everything
live.
takes
Yeah.
time to build up. And
Yeah.
I'm kind of a reverse person that way because the strategic side of me was not my personality strength. So I'm a person who will go and build it and then kind of ticky tape it as it goes. And, you know,
Yeah.
I've just
Yeah.
had my 11th anniversary in podcasting. In June will be my 10th year of my own network.
Oh,
But when I
congrats.
started my network, I had a friend that initially set up the basis of it, and then kind of I did it from there. And so it's still kind of the same. I've gone back to the same old template, A, because it accommodates, because I give out show blogs where people have the
Yeah.
entire content on the show blog, not just the line with
Yeah.
a piece of information. Even on the audios, they get a full description with a link
Yeah.
back to the show blog because I know how frustrating it is to listen to someone. I really would like to reach out to that person, and you can't find the link to reach out to them. So
Oh, yeah.
I give everybody everything. And even though I've tried to change my site into something different, it doesn't accommodate what I've already got on there. And
Yeah.
I've got 3,000 shows, so it's hard to change everything. So
Yeah.
I've had people say, no, I can do this and I can do that. And I said, but hang on. There was one person that set things up. Where's the scheduling? Oh, no, you can't do scheduling. What do you mean? What do you mean? I can put out 8 shows a week. I can't, I need to schedule them,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah.
it's and making the window so small. Hang on, I need to see the whole page. No, no,
Yeah.
we don't have that. And it's like, you said you're going to make things better.
I know. I know.
And
I
it's
do think, yeah, sorry, go on.
no, it just gets very frustrating. And that is, again, going back to people who aren't really looking at what you've got right now and taking the essence of it and strengthening it. They're changing it into their mindset of what they would do
Yeah.
rather than how they can enhance what you are doing.
Absolutely. And I think that's where like the user journey is
Mm.
so important and so
Yes.
overlooked.
Yes.
The amount of times that you'll be like, I want my website, I want all these beautiful things. And then you get there and you're like, wait, what is the main conversion point for me? What am
Mm.
I actually trying to do? Oh, okay. Once I scroll down about a minute, there's a button that actually speaks to that main conversion point. Like that's not gonna work. And even like we were sort of doing an audit the other day, and I was like, okay, walk me through. How do I buy your item? And it was like right when I hit the homepage, there was a button. So I clicked that button, and then I ended up on some form. And then I was like, wait, but don't you want me to buy it? Where's the buying? He's like, oh,
Yeah.
well, if you scroll down a bit, then you can get to another page and buy it. And I was like, but why? I just clicked to buy it. Why didn't, So it's like you just don't think of how the user wants to actually go through that
Yeah.
flow. And
Are they just looky-looing, window shopping, and they
yeah,
want to read everything and suss and then decide whether they want to buy it, or have they made up their mind and they want to go straight to buy it? Right.
totally.
So
Yeah.
give people that option. I'm just looking. I'm
Yeah.
deciding. I want more
Yeah.
information. I'm going to go through your site and all your pages, right?
Totally.
Or it's like, no, you sold me. I listened to you on a podcast.
Yeah.
You sold me. I want to go
Yeah.
straight to buy. And so
For
we
sure.
need to have both of those options. But
Yeah.
one thing I do find, and this is again, I think kind of a failing of society, and we, as I said, become so kind of instant and headliners that um, we're overloaded, that we don't hone in on one piece of information at a time. We're trying to take in everything, which there, because we don't get the full alphabet. We just get the
Yeah,
ABCs. Is that um, I will have people I send out a form, as you know, when I'm doing these
yeah,
shows, and it is how I'm going to do the shows. It's for people that may be new to
yep,
the game, and everything I want from you, and my donation button, and everything else. And I'll get people say, "But where's the link for the show? But where is this? Where is that?" It's on the
yeah,
document. It's on the
yeah,
form. If you
yeah,
don't take time to read the form, and it's the same when you go to a site, if you don't take time, yes, you want on the side columns, I've got everything there, the latest shows, the recent shows, the shows that are coming up, all the buttons
yeah,
and everything. But if you don't pay attention, right? And
yeah,
this, I think, is like you can have the best site in the world, but if
yeah,
we as the consumers don't pay attention,
yeah,
we're the ones missing out. And I think that's a lot of what we've got to do is got to stop pampering to people's instant and
yeah.
maybe start engaging them in wanting to know content.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, it's so interesting because like without getting too into it and stuff, like I'm vegan and I'm like have a bunch of health stuff and there's all these things. And, I've had to learn to be very mindful about a lot of things. And I've had to take the time to learn so much about sustainability, so much about
Mhm.
health, and so much.
I've
And
got the shows for you, love. There are
Amen.
lots of vegan
Oh,
shows on
perfect.
it.
Yeah, and it's so interesting because I've never talked about being vegan on a podcast before. I'm like, I feel like I might get
My
some
daughter and
backlash from
son-in-law,
this.
and I'm 80% there. I've got that
Yeah,
20% still not, but
love
I'm
that.
80% there.
But that, I mean, 80/20 is great. But either way, it's interesting like taking that time and learning all that stuff and then watching people be so reactive to the first candy bar on the shelf or
Yeah.
the first sauces. Oh, the
Yes.
sauces, the stuff they put in them. Sometimes it's just like, why is this first ingredient sugar and then milk and then whatever? I
Yeah.
thought I was buying, you
Yes.
know. So it's interesting, like having to take that step back and be mindful. And it's the same thing. We put so much work into all these websites and all this stuff just for people to be like glance and go.
Yeah.
And it's like it'd be great to encourage a consumer behavior of actually being more mindful with your
Well, I think
everything.
that's up to society to decide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an old fart, I'm 68, so I'm still into listen, learn, pay attention, slow down, one step
Yeah,
in front of the other. You don't have to leap at everything. And
absolutely.
one of my courses, your view of life is that how engaged are you in your life? And so
Yeah.
many people are not engaged. They're not paying attention to all the answers that they're looking for because they're so busy wanting to get to the deadline. And it's like, no, it's about the journey in life. And it's like we're
Mhm.
trying to entice people in, we're trying to show people what we have for them. I've got a great course for you. This it can help you on your journey of life. It can help you with all that confusion. You've just got to participate, which means one step at a time. There isn't
Yeah.
a downloadable app that's going to do it for you. And then
No.
I'm hoping that society is going to swing back around and go, I'm tired of the headliners. Where's the substance?
Yeah,
I'm hoping that it
absolutely.
is. In the meantime, though, to get people hooked in enough to want to read the substance is a forever changing game.
Yeah, yeah, it is. Yeah, and we are a little bit at the mercy of algorithms and stuff because we're
Yes.
not even going to see those good nuggets out there if we haven't sort of taught the algorithm that we're looking for them, and
Yes.
they're not doing enough on their side to show up for people like us looking for
Right.
them. So it is interesting. Like it's a balance for sure, and I think the
Yeah.
digital world adds that extra confusing layer, like, because AI is so prominent
Mm.
and
Well, now
having,
you've got AI that can write your ads, AI that can write your script, AI that can write your book, and
yeah,
you know,
why do we need authors? Why do we need this? And
exactly, and this,
you're like,
hey, folks, you're worried about the AI taking over, but you're
yeah,
busy allowing it to take
oh,
over.
I know. I cringe when clients say, oh, can you just write all this with AI? I'm like, but you're the professional. I would prefer that you give us some
Yes.
talking notes and we
Yeah.
write it out as humans.
Yes.
because then why is it even from you? Like,
Well, I mean, you're going to read something that an AI has written, and then you're going to
yeah,
talk to the person and go, hang on, your dialogue is utterly different to what you've written.
yes.
And that disconnect then brings about distrust,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And what have you got in any form of business? You're building a relationship of trust. Can I
Yeah.
trust you to deliver what I need? Can I trust you with what I've got? Right?
Yeah.
And if you are misrepresenting yourself with all this easy AI or easy this or easy that, and then people
Mm-hmm.
come to actually look, but you're not what I bought.
No, yeah, I know. If you've completely been sent through an automation, and there's
Mm,
high ticket items like people
yes,
that sell horses and
I
houses and
know.
things like that. If you get right down to this point of spending hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars and you haven't talked to a person, there's no way you're clicking send
Yeah,
on that money. You know, there's just
yes.
no way. You've got to have a face to face, whether it's like this or in person. I think
When it's like,
that
you go and buy an outfit, oh, it looks wonderful, and it says it's this size, and you get it, and it fits your doll.
I know.
You know,
I know.
it is like, well, you just bought it carte blanche, blindly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Totally.
whenever that does happen, I actually go and put it up there. Please don't buy.
Yeah.
it's not real. It's a
Oh
con or
yeah.
whatever. And but
Yeah.
we've got to be mindful of what we buy.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
and that means also the people that we're quote buying, because what are we doing? We are selling ourselves. And if
Hmm.
I can't buy you, why am I going to buy from you?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
What do you think of, everybody doing a video nowadays? Like I don't like necessarily the live videos because, they're just streamlined and they're gone. When I do a
Hmm.
video, I always film more it and put my link in and this and that and then put it up. Um,
Yeah.
and I put it across the board, all of my
Yeah.
things, but it's, a weekly perspective or something I'm announcing or whatever, trying to be engaging, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And but a lot of people are uncomfortable with kind of putting their face out there. What would you suggest that they do that becomes something that is engaging? I mean,
Yeah.
I had an 82-year-old that all the way through COVID for over a year and a half, nearly 2 years, every single day put out a poem.
Wow. I
Every
love
single
that.
day.
Yeah.
She's an extraordinary woman, but no, we're not
Yeah.
expecting that. But,
No.
to get people engaged, what would you say?
Yeah. Yeah, so I really like the intro video. So
Hmm.
you can actually pin a video on Instagram, on Facebook at the top, all of those things. So I think it is really nice to still have that human touch of
Yeah.
here's what I am, here's what my business is, here's how you get information on it. I find that if we don't pin anything, I
Mm-hmm.
can just come to your site and it's a beautiful quote about sustainability, and that's nice.
Yeah.
And then I scroll and I'm seeing, it could take me 5 minutes to find out what you're actually doing, and you've probably lost me by then.
Yeah.
So I do really like the pinned video. I think it gets more complicated when you do have to have a little bit of a talk with yourself on, am I going to be the face of my brand?
Right.
Because you don't have to be.
Hmm.
I think that you should be your brand's biggest fan if you are
Hmm.
not the face of it.
Yes.
But I think that if done right, you don't have to make videos for your business where you're in it, as long as you're being as long as you can produce video content otherwise. And then that's where like there is a world of influencers and things like that. So they
Mm.
can kind of speak to what your messaging is. You can have people give video reviews.
Mm.
So I would never say that I don't think video is a good idea because it is what the algorithm
Yeah.
wants. But I think if it's just really not going to be you, it's going to be blurry, you're
Uh,
going to be stumbling over yourself, like that's worse, not better. It's going to bring down your credibility, not up.
yeah.
So I think it's if it's within your means and you're willing to take the time and actually produce something that introduces you and your brand, amazing. If not, then jump on your personal and just make sure you're really sharing your business. So no one should be questioning, I wonder who the person is behind this logo.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's that's an unfortunate world, but at the same time, I wouldn't say that everybody needs to get behind the camera in order to have a successful brand.
And of course, what everybody has nowadays is a podcast, which, if they're doing their site, they have a podcast of maybe things they put up, tips and tools and things like that. And that's a good idea. Um, and I 5 years ago I went to video because a friend taught me into it, and it's like I say, who wants to see this old bag? And then afterwards, my back of my voice said, "It's not about you; it's about the content and the guest, right?" So, but
Hmm.
it is interesting because I'm on 16 audio platforms. The audio platforms still lead. The
Yeah,
video platforms are, they're on every show page, they're there, but it's generally people are still preferring to listen. So
yeah,
if you do feel uncomfortable, you can, put
yeah.
out an audio on your site or put out an audio on social media with a nice picture that draws them in of a message or a tidbit or something that you want to do, because
Hmm.
most people are listening while they're doing something else, and not
Yeah.
many people can be sitting
Yes.
and watching, right?
I think that speaks to, yeah, like how busy we are as
Mhm.
a society, and we're always trying to be a multitasking.
Yeah.
That audio is a very cool world where you can listen, and in driving time, right?
Yes.
I
Out
think
for a
it's really
walk,
cool
drive,
for
and
that.
this and
Yeah.
that. But though I like people to go out for a walk and listen to nature because nature has so much to tell you.
It's true,
Um,
right?
but some people are out jogging and they just, or on the treadmill,
Yes.
and
Yeah,
it takes the time away from, like from, what, I still got 50 minutes to go. You're listening to a podcast, next thing you
absolutely.
know, it's over. But
It's gone.
um,
Yeah. Yeah.
I think
The
it's
only thing,
knowing what you can put out and knowing who you need to hire to help you put out the right content that is going to be invitational, because it's your inspiration that becomes an invitation,
yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say the only comment I had there was that you might be speaking to your algorithm a bit because I wouldn't say everyone has a podcast.
You'll be surprised. You'll be
But
surprised. I mean, the amount of people that I've interviewed have now gone into having some form of podcast, whether it's something they
yeah,
do or whether it's something they interview. It's kind of become rather like putting a video up on your site so people can see you. Do they get your vibe? And
yeah,
kind of doing that podcast, whether it's just a business podcast where they're sharing, tools or things like this, or whether it's something else. But it's and especially since COVID, it's become even more
yeah.
mainstream.
And that's true because you'll record meetings even and
Yeah,
then throw them up on YouTube. And then I suppose like some people are like, well, you're pretty much posting videos, which is then
yeah,
associated with podcasts. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's definitely it's very cool that we can connect from all over the world. I love,
yes,
love, love that
yes.
fact. I think the world has gotten bigger because of
Mm,
the internet. Um, and even like, yeah, since COVID, using it as a connection. I can go and Zoom with my mom at any
yeah,
point. I'll still visit as well, but that just wasn't a thing before. You could only call, right? So,
right.
or at least it might have been a thing, but we weren't using it as much. So,
And I think also in a lot of ways, going through COVID, a lot of people are like, well, I have to take my business online or I'm going to die, right?
yeah.
And then they found that
And
actually
some of
putting
them
it
can.
online opened them up to the world. And
Totally.
suddenly they had clientele from other parts of the world that they never would
Yes.
have had before. And that,
Yeah.
yeah, some people find this impersonal. But when you actually pick up the vibe of the conversation, then it doesn't matter if it's a human, sitting in front of you or through this apparatus.
Hmm.
It's all about the vibrational connection. Are you connecting?
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
and we've realized that it can bridge a gap that otherwise you
Yeah.
would not have.
Absolutely. And it gives you a little bit of your time back as
Yeah.
well.
Yes, you're
So
not
I think,
commuting somewhere.
yeah, so you can engage with more people and you can fit more engagements in your day with
Yeah.
the rest of your life. So that's been really a very cool element that I think is nice. And I mean, obviously I'm a big fan of the digital world. I mean, that is like how I have a
Yes.
company.
I obviously
Um,
am too. It's my
yeah,
platform, right?
exactly.
Yeah. Let's
Exactly.
get
But
digital.
yeah. I love it. But yeah, but I just like definitely wanted to kind of just speak to, yeah, like make sure that you're you're intentional about being online, you're being careful about what you're doing and who you're trusting, and yeah, taking that time to really look at not only your business strategy, but your how you're showing up and who you're giving your trust to. Certainly your passwords and things like that, but
Right.
even just your ideas and your time,
When
so
it's like you said in your intro, when I was reading your intro, don't have the same password for everything.
yes.
Right. And but at the same time, make sure you write your goddamn password down.
I
Because I've got
know,
so many things I have to log in. And it's like, and if
totally.
you don't write it down, and I write down what the login is and what the password is, and because I'm not going to remember, my mind is now on the next thing.
I
Right.
know.
So it's
And
really
a
important.
secure password, it's always, you got to have a symbol and a number and this and
Yeah.
that. So
Yes.
before it could be your dog's name or your kid's name. You're like, oh wait, but now we have to add all this. But I probably shouldn't just go with like my kid's name and their date of birth because that's not secure enough.
You're right.
It's just so it's unfortunate that you have to be more mindful with it. But yeah, I find if you have a few, then you can have some repetition, but like change the number or something.
Yeah.
So at least you can guess it for yourself.
Exactly, exactly.
But
Go, which year was this? Oh, that would be that kind of
yeah,
a thing. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. But if
So
you have the same, you just think your Instagram just got hacked. Does that mean your bank account's not safe anymore? Like that's
yeah.
just the thing.
Well, I live with a 90-year-old who literally just has a phone, no data. She won't do anything online. Oh, my friend got scammed and that's it. I won't do anything online. I pay everything online for her, but
Yeah,
she won't. And I won't pay anything on through my phone. I'm probably a little of an old fart on that. It's because if my phone is stolen, which is more likely to be than my computer stolen, with my computer, it's a
yeah,
login anyway.
yeah,
So, I think it's also if you are out and about doing things, it's like how secure are you if somebody should snatch something? And
yeah.
I know it's convenient, but at the same time, is it safe?
Mm-hmm.
So when
Mm-hmm.
somebody comes to you, do you go through the points? You listen to what they want to do, and then do you go for the points? Okay, point one, two, three, four, five. This is the structure that you need to have in order to build safely. And I'm sure that for many of them, there's things that they haven't even thought about.
Yeah, certainly. So if someone comes with just a like an idea, like they're in the early stages of their company, we say, let's strategize, let's think of the plan, and then you decide on your platforms. And then
Mhm.
once you decide on your platforms, it's okay, what is the best practice, and that's when you get all connected. We give you all the advice on making sure you own everything.
Mm,
The poor website world that you can buy a website and not read the fine print, and you don't own that website at all.
yes.
So if you ever stop working with that person, they own your domain,
Yes,
they can
yes, they
own your
do, folks.
company
Please
name.
don't do it. It's happened to me. Don't do it.
Oh, it's so painful. It's
It
so
is.
sad. And like we've fought with companies that have done that to clients. Some are successful, some are not.
Yeah.
There's
Some are just
just, yeah.
a
And like,
you know what.
yeah, even I know, but even like things you don't think about. So we had someone who he was genuine. It's just that for the client, it was complicated. I don't want all my domain server information. You just deal with that,
Yeah.
right? And then unfortunately he passed away. And
Right.
then to get it back to our name, we had to provide a death certificate. So now a company that your son
Yeah.
or husband has worked with is now trying to contact you to get their death certificate so that they can get their business going. And nobody wants to be in that
No,
position.
no.
So,
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you've got to
yeah,
make sure that quote quote you own the land that you're building on.
100%. Yeah.
It's really important, and it's that yeah, it may be a hassle. There are ways of like having people come into your site and do things, and all they are is
Like a user.
a user, right, where they can
Yeah.
do things, but they can't delete your account, they can't do things
Yes.
with their account. So there
Totally.
are safety measures that you can take. But a lot of people don't know about those safety measures. And I think, where where you're different to any other show that I've done before is the fact that you are pointing out the people where the detriments are, how to safeguard themselves before they even start building. And I imagine you also get a lot of people that are already there. This has already happened to them, and it's help, fix me.
Absolutely. And we try to flag, okay, like, so I was going to say one of the ones right now is people tag you in a post on social and
Mhm.
they say your account is scheduled to be shut down unless you do this.
Yes.
And I've had so many clients screenshot it and say, "Hey, what have we done? We've
Yeah.
been flagged." And I'm like, "It's just a scam, but they're so good. They're
Yes,
so
I
good.
know.
It looks so
Yeah.
genuine."
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's nice that for them they can just send it over, but like when in doubt, don't click it. Like just
Yes.
don't. Like they will be very pushy if they really need something from you. So it's weird because we always think act fast,
Yeah.
stay on top of everything,
Yeah.
but you just have to take that extra mindful moment and be like,
Caution.
yeah,
Caution.
yeah,
Right? You don't cross the street before looking left and right. Right?
exactly.
It's
Don't
just,
click a button.
yeah, exactly. And I
Yeah,
think that is even more so today. As I said, when I get these emails and I get, oh, your Norton has, we've upgraded your Norton, you've been charged this much. This is your receipt.
yeah,
Well, I know I don't have Norton. So I
yeah,
know it's
I know.
phishing. So I
It's like the
report it as
banks.
phishing.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of things that come up, and like if I don't feel comfortable or I don't feel right with it, I either delete it or if I can actually phone the company by going into the site of the
yes.
company and phone them, did you send this? But yeah, I know it's painful, but at the same time, it's a lot less painful than being scammed.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think of it, right? Like the CRA now will just say, "Hey, you have mail. Go sign into your CRA account on the CRA, and then you can open your mail." They
Right.
won't ever email you
Mm,
because they know that there's so many scams out there that they could just get that, duplicate it, and start sending it out, and it would feel so official. So, like, it's nice to see that some big companies are taking a lot, but even as a business owner, you're actually kind of responsible for doing some of that because if you aren't and you have email lists of 8,000 and then you get hacked, you've just
yes.
exposed those 8,000 people to being scammed in different ways.
Yeah.
So it's important to us that we make sure we're safe for all of our clients and that we're making sure our clients are safe for all of their customers. 'Cause
But it's
nobody
also
wants
when you're
that nightmare.
online and you see something suspicious. I had somebody the other day say to me, Sarah, I think you've been scammed. Um, because I have changed name from self-discovery media to self-discovery wisdom, and a new banner was up. And she said, I
Yeah.
think you've been scammed. And I said, where, love? And she told me, and I said, no, no, don't worry, that was me. That
Yeah.
was, but
Yeah.
thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you for pointing it out. And if we feel that something is off from people we get or business messages or this and that, go
Yeah.
back to the person who owns it and say, look, is this you? Or, is this an issue? Because
Yeah.
very often they're not on top of it all the time because they're juggling a lot of things.
I
So
know.
let's be kind to each other, right?
Yeah. I really like to like being in marketing. If I see that you put something out with a spelling error or something and
Yeah.
you're able to fix it,
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, hey, by the way." But it's the same thing like telling someone if there's chocolate on their face,
Yes,
right? Like
exactly.
some people are really cool with it,
You're
some
gonna
people
booger up your
aren't,
nose.
but
Yeah.
yeah, you're like, "Well."
Yeah. I'm
So,
one of these people when I'm behind someone and their label is sticking out. But your label, just put it back in. Yeah. Why not? They don't know.
totally.
They're
It's
unaware. And so
yeah.
when you do something when somebody's unaware, and you're doing it because you care, they're
Yeah,
appreciative. If they get the
totally.
upper knickers in a twist, then well, they're just uptight people, right?
Yeah,
But most people say, "Well, thank you."
I
Right?
know.
Thank you.
I know.
Because you can't always be aware of everything, be aware as much. And this is why having a team like you
Yeah.
that is there to kind of be that buffer between them actually
Yeah.
being able to do their business right and having that safety and having that strategy and being on top of the data to say, look, this is working, keep going. This isn't working,
Hmm.
let's redirect. It allows the people to go and do what they do best
Yes.
and not worry about all the rest.
No, exactly. You don't need to be a marketing professional and
Uh-huh.
your own skill, right? And that's kind of what it turns into is you have to wear a full marketing hat, and that's a big
Yes,
hat, you know. So
it is.
we
Believe
we
me,
just
wobbly
yeah,
neck because I wear all the hats.
totally. So we try to lighten the load for sure, and we try to break it down to like here's like where we see the real honest return on investment, and and then it's kind of like, well, what do you like? Do you like copywriting? Then great, you write your blogs
Right.
and we'll work on the ads. Do you like data? Okay, great. So you check your analytics monthly and we'll work on this. So we're
Mhm.
not very strict on what we do for you. We'll give you a whole strategy, like it's a paid thing, obviously, but we'll do the
Yes.
whole strategy and you can take it somewhere else. You could take it internal. We'll audit teams that already have a full marketing team.
Hmm.
They just feel like they're in a rut. We'll
Yes.
audit them and give them the help. So it's not
You're
about,
kind of a different set of eyes, a different set of perspective of what's
yeah,
missing or what they need.
totally.
It's like security. They're not hovering around you all the time, but they're going up, vulnerability over there, or somebody else, the accountant pointing out this is happening or that is happening, and it's like it's those extra eyes and ears that you don't always have time for, or your
Yeah.
team is busy doing their job, so they don't necessarily have time for.
Oh,
And
yeah.
and what are we doing as solopreneurs or small businesses today? Whether we're one, two, or three or four people in the company, what
Hmm.
happens now is that we are outsourcing various needs for
Hmm.
professionals who are doing what they do well for us. So
Yeah.
you don't actually have to hire someone in the company to do it. And
Yeah.
you've just got the team that really is, really tight doing their work, and the support of how they're doing it is outsourced and bought in
Yeah.
to allow them to go down and do what they need to do.
Absolutely. And I think it's really cool because you think of it, if you're hiring someone, half the time it's like your communications
Mm.
person or your HR person. You're like, hey, can you do some marketing as well? Or maybe like I really do believe in hiring like students and stuff like that. I
Mm.
think that there's a lot of people that aren't given enough chance. But if you're in a pretty like high stakes time of your company, if you're
Hmm.
hiring a student, they're looking for a lot of
Yes.
help, a lot of guidance. If you don't have that guidance and
Hmm.
help to give to them, maybe that's not the right fit at that time. So hiring an agency is just so cool because you get all the different heads, or at least with a company like ours, we have every,
You
I'm
have a
going to say,
lot of heads with different hats on
yeah,
instead of
and
all
you're
one
kind
hat.
of
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
exactly, and you're kind of paying for like one person, but you're getting six people
Yes.
behind the scene
Yeah.
or eight people
Yeah.
behind the scene. So it's quite cool. And we find, if whatever service isn't the right one, we'll very quickly say, well, I think it's actually this, because we know you'll see that return better, and we'll want you to go to that rather than just getting you to keep doing social because that's all we offer. So
Right.
I feel
Right.
very lucky to be in that position because I want to help people. My value is to help businesses thrive, not for me to make the most money. But
Right.
a big thing that businesses sometimes can forget is if you aren't making money, you
How can you
can't
be of
continue
service?
to give
Yeah,
those
exactly,
services.
exactly.
Totally.
You know,
So
you have to
yeah,
water these seeds for things to grow, right? Exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
And that is just kind of we've always been barterers, whether it's e-commerce or through
Yeah.
anything else. It's always been give and take for the service you've given me, I will give you that. And we're in an
Yeah.
e-commerce world where it is money. And if you're starting a business, you have to look at, okay, it's going to take this amount of money for this and this amount of money for that. Okay, maybe I can't afford this right now, but I need to have this in
Hmm.
order that I'm sure-footed for when I have the money for that. All right, so it
Absolutely.
start off small, but
Yeah.
start off secure. And
Yeah.
what you teach them and what you do for them is show them where the potholes are, where the advantages are, things to look out for that is going to allow them to analyze where the growth is, where the people are, things to
Hmm.
actually look at when it's no, just don't keep feeding that well, it's dry.
Yeah.
Um, and that is something that we really do need in when we're building. And even when we are successful, we still need it because you can be top of your game today. And then somebody else comes in and you're right back down to the bottom
I
again.
know.
But
I know.
unfortunately, that's the way life is. And so having somebody that's always there, kind of, you've got their back. You're
Yeah.
letting them know what they need when they need it, so they can
Yeah.
stay on top of it and pivot. And you don't just drive down the road straight, it's going to curve. And if you don't know how to
Absolutely.
steer, you're going to go off
Yeah.
into a ditch somewhere. So,
Oh yeah. Yeah. And we do offer like full services for all of those areas. But like I said, like we're just not pushy for all the services
yeah, they can
unless
take
they make
one or they can
sense.
take a dozen.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
whatever they need and whatever they can afford at
Exactly.
that time.
Exactly.
But I
So
think working with somebody that's starting off, I think security is huge
it
because
is.
you don't
It
want to
is.
leave yourself vulnerable. And then having, one or two strategies in place that not only will have you securely building,
Yeah.
but allow the growth of the building.
Absolutely. And I think the security speaks to, do you like, you can be torn down and almost be back to square one, you know?
Yes.
So that security is so essential to make sure that you keep going up. You
Yeah.
know, of course there's going to be roller coaster rides,
Yes.
but
Right.
like you want that common trend to be upward, not my brand just got stolen, my web just site just got stolen, and now I'm back to zero, or my funds got stolen, you know, and then
Yeah.
I can't afford anything. Like there's so many areas that could go wrong, where you just want to do these little things right from the beginning, and then you're not worried about it. So
And another tip I'm going to tell you as a businesswoman who interviews people is that when you send out an email and it's time sensitive and people don't get back to you for a week or so, they're going to, in my case, maybe lose their position because I have to put somebody else in there. But it also for other people is kind of saying, well, maybe you're not a priority. So it's having somebody that every single day is assigned to check messages, social media, wherever form your messaging comes through, and get back to, even if it's an email saying, out of office right now, get back to you in a day or two. But
yeah,
it's same with the phone calls. If you've got tons of messages, get to them because you could be losing out on business because you haven't
absolutely.
paid attention to it. It's
Um,
little things that can really make your business crumble, right?
yeah, following up, and that's
Yeah,
where that personal element comes in too,
yeah,
right? Like following up with
yes,
people, checking in, you know, and trying to just stay on top of it. Like we know as entrepreneurs, like you're so busy, but exactly like where, like you, if something doesn't work, then change it, you know. Like I
yeah,
love, like you have a calendar system, I have a calendar system too. It's amazing, right? If
yeah,
you need to find times, and I don't want to spend, you know, 5 hours going back and forth all the time, so you create a system and you plug it in and you don't have to worry.
right.
Because I just feel, yeah, there's a lot of things that can help streamline your business,
Exactly.
and help you without losing that personal element entirely. So
Exactly. And there are a lot of programs like that say ARM and things that you do is put them in place so they're working for you and
hmm.
you're not having to work so much for that. Right?
Yeah,
So that's really what it's about. Get the things in place so that you can build strong and securely, not miss out on things, not get
mhm,
scammed, be
yeah,
able to cope with growth because you've got the systems in place.
yeah. We say too, if you've written it out 10 times, it should be a template.
Yeah.
So don't bother, you know, trying to think of things, or even I like if you're filling out forms, trying to type it out on a doc or something first, or if you are
Yeah.
filling it out and is a doc, save it for yourself, because there's a lot of repetition in business. What do you do? Who are you?
Yes.
Do that, you know, so you want to have some of that stuff like kind of ready to go.
Copy and paste in the next document that
Yeah,
comes along instead of
right.
like, oh God, I've got to
Yeah,
rethink that. Yes. Oh, absolutely.
totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So so
Make
good.
life simple for yourself, but you need
Mhm.
these tidbits and you've got all the tidbits and you've got the team there. So whether they want to
Yeah.
hand off one hat or a dozen hats, you're there for them. And when initially you need that conversation to find out what it is you do need and why you need it.
Yeah.
And you'll be very
Absolutely.
surprised and actually what you
Yeah.
do need, but then actually understand why you need it. And
Yes.
that's the important thing, the
Yeah.
understanding why. So you
Exactly.
actually have a freebie for target your audience breakdown. which is usually a value of $25, and you've given it to our audience free. So it's
Yeah.
Starter Up free audience workbook, which they can get here on the website here. But also, what's your site, Love, and all your other social medias, etc.?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so the company is called Stardom Up Marketing Solutions. And yeah, we have a freebie that just sort of speaks to how you can find your target audience. So that's really nice. There's worksheets and everything in there. So that's great. But my site is stardomup.ca. So I am Canadian. I'm up
Yes,
here
proud
with a bunch of
Canadian.
you. Yeah, exactly. And then on social, we're Stardom Up Marketing. So that's Instagram and Facebook. On LinkedIn, it is Stardom Up Marketing Solutions, but I'd be more than happy to connect with people even on a personal level. So I'm Emily Bassett on Facebook. That is my last name. Rose is my middle name, but that's kind of floats with me everywhere. So I'm named after my grandmother. So
Oh, nice name, nice name.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
So, but yeah, and then even if people want to directly email, it's Bassett, so Bassett at startmup.ca. It's a common thing that people think it's start me up, but it's
right.
a start
Start M
em.
up. Yeah, come on,
Yeah,
start them up. Let's get going. Yeah,
exactly,
exactly.
exactly.
And when you want to start them up, and there's also so many people, that like me, rebrand or redirect. And
Yep,
I was taking this path, but I have found that my work has taken me over here. And now I need to kind of
yeah,
rebrand, but I don't want to lose the connection I've had to what I did. I just need to show that
absolutely.
it's now evolved. And so people need help with that in
Yeah,
the rebranding of themselves. As to, the evolving into something else. So they don't lose their past clientele or list.
yeah.
They don't lose the identity. They've just shown we've grown and branched off.
Exactly. Exactly. There's tons of times in life that you need a little start them up because yeah,
Mm,
you can be literally starting, you could be in a rut, you could be shifting,
yeah.
you could be merging,
Yeah.
it could be like
Aligning.
yeah,
So, I mean, I'm
exactly.
partnered with several people where we're, cross-platform, right?
Yeah.
So how do you represent yourself on each of those platforms is very, very important, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of benefit to online marketing and social media and having that presence and a good site and, doing all the videos and everything else. There's a lot of benefit to it, but
Yeah.
you want to avoid the nightmare, and that's what you're there for. You're there to
Absolutely.
help them avoid the nightmare. And of course, if they do end up, getting in the nightmare, you're there to help unravel it the best you can if it's possible, which sometimes isn't possible. And,
Yeah.
there's some of these things, but it is that protection, it's that navigation, but you've also got their backs. And that's something that's really, really important in business. Somebody who's got your back that you can go to and go,
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And we're just so good at, yeah, you're not locked into anything. If that's not what makes sense for you at the time, then, we can give you the deliverables and then just be someone that you've got in your back pocket.
yeah,
And I like that connection because then you know where to go, right? So
yes,
if you're anyone who
exactly.
just got hacked or just
All right.
had a
Or,
nightmare,
suddenly there's a flux of money and they can afford more of the
yeah.
services,
Oh, for
or they know
sure.
somebody else starting up, because I think the greatest compliment is
Yes.
referral.
Love, love
And
that.
it's you never know. And that's the thing in business today. Don't think, oh, I know I don't need that. I don't need it right now. Everything's going fine. No, put it in your database.
Mhm.
Your Rolodex. I know,
Yeah.
old. Because you never know when you do that and then go, well, who was that? Where was it? Well, now you've got it in your
Yeah,
CRM, right? You know where it is and you
absolutely.
can contact. And
Yeah.
so never say never because you never
No,
know.
yeah, absolutely. And even like last little notice, sometimes you don't know the opportunities that are
Mm,
there. Like without giving too much, like nonprofits have opportunities to get
yes.
free like Google ads and
Yeah.
stuff like that. And it's just like even just taking the time to speak with some people where it is their profession and that they're sort of the master of that then it can just help you so much, even without being like, oh, well, I don't have hundreds of dollars a month to spare for a full-time team. No, that's not always what it is. It's just about talking to people about where the
Or
opportunities are.
paying kind of piecemeal for the service of that moment, and it's not an ongoing thing, right? So,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
yeah. Single
yeah.
services
And
are
like, there's all of these places, especially like in podcasting, YouTube, and this that you can monetize, and you go to the information, and
yeah,
suddenly it's 6 pages, and you're like, well, where the hell do I monetize?
I
And
know.
it's gobbledygook that not all of us
Totally.
understand, and it then becomes I
Yeah.
give up because it's frustrating.
Yeah. Or I go to every single one and I'm drowning.
Yes, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
you
So,
got to
yes.
grow up for
Uh,
sure.
and that, there's so much then you have to set up and do this and do that, etc. So if you've got
Yeah.
somebody else that can do it for you because they know how to do it and they can whiz through it and you're busy
Exactly. It takes
tearing
me
your
five
hair out.
minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Totally.
Prioritize, right?
Absolutely.
That's really important. Well,
Yeah.
thanks so much, Emily, for sharing here today. Lots of wonderful tips and information. And, it is about protection. It is about building one strong business from the foundation up. It is about being aware, but your services can be bought just for one issue, or they could be ongoing, or they could be, I need you now for ABC, and then
Yeah.
later I need you for DEF, or whatever the case is. So you're flexible. It's not
Yeah.
like, oh no, you've got to buy this and you've got to be locked in, you've got to do that. You're working with the client at where they're at.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh, so good to chat. And
Yeah.
I'm glad we got connected through some other events. So yeah,
Yes,
we'll
yes,
see you
wonderful.
lots.
Right. That's what all about, folks, is also paying attention to events and summits and things out there, listening to other people, letting them inspire you because you never know what doors it's going to open, right? So take the blinkers off, stop trying to walk just straight and realize life is a bit of cha-cha-cha. And sometimes it's all about just sitting still and paying attention. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.